Yeah. What do you think, Mitch? What do you think is your best bike? I mean, you've had a great partnership with Kawasaki. They've been incredible to you. RV, they were great to you during your career. What do you feel like there is a certain year or model, Mitch, that was the best bike that you had?
Well, I mean, 125s, like our first bike. And once again, what happens too, I think, is so I always say like the peak bike was amazing. That was a phenomenal bike, right? It was ahead of its time, it was ahead of the other manufacturers, and then we made it better. But then when everybody starts, working on the stuff, or they'll buy a kit from us and they'll see what we did and they'll look at this, try to copy that, and within a couple of years, like we remember that big step above, everybody gravitates closer and closer and closer, so there's more equity in the class, where everybody's kind of a little bit closer. The four stroke, same thing. I mean, you look at, what was it, 0405. I mean, man, we laid the wood to people because I said it was a terrible idea, this four stroke things. And I'm like, I'm going to show you what I can do with one. and and then you sort of catch up, but we just had this massive advantage. And then like the Yamaha gets better and the KTM's are good, so they're, I feel like that. And then I feel like there's a big where there's a big level playing field of rider, where I consider it, and I say this all the time, I think there's a lot of B pluses, but there's like every so often there's an A plus. But we got a lot of A minuses and a lot of B pluses, so that like you see that closer, right? And it's hard to like spot that guy is the that one's the one, you got to have him. So might be wrong. You guys might have an opinion, and I say a lot of that is they don't go to school, they ride at these puppy mills, and I don't know.
I was thinking about this today, Mitch, and I was wondering, do you feel like, and I may be completely wrong, you feel like it's harder as a team owner to win races and championships these days, say, than it was in your early years? And if so, why do you think that it's harder to win?
Well, and I do think it is harder. Like you said. So I think uh, I think it's a couple things. I think one, uh, so like everybody remembers the peak bikes, and they're like, God, they were so ahead of the time, and but nobody remembers it. Like, like I did engines for the Honda team in '89 and some other teams and stuff. So I think we were pretty smart already. Not maybe the smartest guy, but like we're good. So we had a really good base. The bike is part of it. But then, Jesus, like I had Jeremy McGrath, I had Lamson, and I had Buell, and I got these guys, right? And then there's been times, and like Ricky, you probably were one of the guys where our bike wasn't the best bike
Oh, come on, dude. You don't think
back.
that
And that's why we
99?
were so committed to like every week working on it. Yeah, like it was the Yamaha was a better bike, and like I knew that, but my goal was to get us as close as we can do it. But the reason we won purely was because we had you. So, and I still say that to this day, that I feel like the rider is more important than the equipment, for sure, 100%.
Do you
Now the
still think
riders
like,
these days and the equipment.
yeah, you still
Go
feel
ahead.
like today, like all the bikes are winnable and it does come down to the rider at the end of the day?
Yeah. If I had the Lawrence brothers for the last couple of years, I'd rack up a bunch of wins. Like, I don't think it's that difficult. They go out there and ride around on standing up. I think it's more important. You got to have good equipment, but
Yep.
you got to have the guys.
What's cool is like when you see a rider like Ty that I like, and whether it's all forms of motorsports, but I like when a guy gets a chance like you've given him, Mitch, and they make good with it. That's what's really impressive to me, and I'm really pumped for the kid, is when he's gotten that second chance because you offered it to him and he's taken it and he's running with it. That's pretty cool. Rarely do you see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, you guys kind of both know me really well, right? And I'm everybody, like, oh, he's really mean to the guys, and I'm like, I'm super cool with the guys that I see put the effort in, but I'm not okay if I see a guy being a flake, right? And I'm like, because I feel like we bust our ass like working really hard, and like if this kid really wants it, we need to see that he's putting in the work, and I do see that, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, RV, I never had a problem with Mitch. I don't think you ever had a problem
I
either.
never had a problem, but
I never
I've
had a
seen
problem.
Goose get all chewed up and spit out a few times.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what like people would always say to me, RV and Mitch was like, dude, he must be. I'm like, well, actually, if you do your job, he's okay with it, and even if you get fifth, as long as you gave it your all, dude, that's all he's asking you to do. But like exactly what you're saying, Mitch, dude, if you're slacking, that's when it can get a little tense, which rightfully so, dude. I agree with you.
Totally. I yeah, it's good to see. Happy for you, Mitch, to get that, finally knock down that 300th win. That's a ton of wins. I think I don't think it is the most wins amongst any team. So you've been at it for many, many years, and I was lucky enough to put. I think Ricky, you're up there in the 30s. I'm in close to the 30s there. So, man, it's awesome to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's been an honor to know you, Mitch, and Artie and I talked about it, just how honored we were to ride for you and be underneath your wing and your program. You definitely got us pointed in the right directions, and I feel like a lot of athletes have pivotal moments in their career where they can make a right turn or a wrong turn. And fortunately for I think I can speak for you, RV, and you can take it after this, is had we not gotten off on the right foot with you, maybe our careers wouldn't have become what they were. So,
and do you remember, Ricky? Do you remember this conversation? Do you remember we were coming home from, I think, MX Compound, and drive through McDonald's in your cheap Larry Ward pickup?
Yeah.
And you said Honda made me an offer, and it's more money. And I'm like, go there if you want. And you said, yeah, but that bike sucks. Like, can I win on that thing? And I think I told you, like, I was honest with you. I said, yeah, you'll probably win. Like, and you're like, I can't believe you told me that. And I'm like, I'm not saying it's going to be easier, but that's why I was telling you the rider is more important. I'm honest with both of you guys, and you're just phenomenal guys. Make that difference. I don't care how far we turn that air screw or if we take 2 clicks out of the shock. Somebody's got to get on that thing and stretch that throttle cable.
Dude,
that's so true. So true. I mean, I think it's a little more even on an even playing field. But when Ricky came up, it was the only team to be. When I came up, my dad had said that's the only place we're going if we have an opportunity. Now we'll take a second rate, a B team if we have to. But the goal was to be. The goal was to be on your team. That was for sure.
Yeah.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.